Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our channel. I'm Mark.
And I'm Rob.
And today we're going to talk about Cathy Engelbert's appearance on CNBC's Power Lunch and her answer about the hatred that's going on Twitter between Caitlin Clark fans and Angel Reese fans and the response to that. And hey, if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please do so and hit the notification bell when you do. If you like Caitlin Clark, subscribe to our channel. If you like football, subscribe to our channel. That's all you need to know. We're going for 5,000.
Like Mark's new shirt? If you like Mark's new shirt, subscribe.
If you like Rob's black shirt or my blue shirt, then subscribe to the channel. If you like Rob, subscribe to the channel. That's all you need to know. So, Rob, Cathy Engelbert was on a TV show called Power Lunch on CNBC, and the anchor, Tyler Matheson, asked about darker, more menacing tone taken by fan bases on social media, where race has been introduced in the conversation, where sexuality is sometimes introduced in the conversation. And he said to her, how do you try and stay ahead of that, try and tamp it down or act as a league when two of your most visible players are involved, not personally, it would seem, but their fan base are involved in saying some very uncharitable things about the other.
Right.
And her response was, there's no apathy. Everybody cares. It's a little bit like Bird Magic moment, if you recall, from 1979, when those two rookies came into the league from a big college rivalry, one white, one black. And so we have that moment with these two. But the one thing I know about sports, you need rivalry. That's what makes people watch. They want to watch games of consequences between rivals. They don't want everybody being nice to one another. And then she said, if someone's typing something and you wouldn't ask their advice, ignore it. And that's basically all she said. And so everybody got upset because she didn't denounce the racism and sexuality parts of the question.
Yeah, she skipped right over that.
Right. So later,
skipped right over
it. She just ignored it. And later she did tweet something. Later, though, after she got some criticism, she did take to social media on Tuesday night to clarify her initial remarks, writing, to be clear, there's absolutely no place for hate or racism of any kind in the WNBA or anywhere else. Now, I think if she had just started with that sentence and then just answered the rest of the way she answered, it would have been a great answer. And she's brain dead, as Ben Daniels calls her on his podcast. He does a great job, by the way. He calls her Cathy Engelbrain dead. But since she's brain dead, she couldn't even get the first part right. But then she gave a good answer after that. So she just kind of blew it, Rob, in that sense.
Yeah. She struck out in the first swing and then realized she had to adjust. And then because I got to adjust to this. And that's what she did.
The question was, what do you do about that? Well, she has no control over the Twitter people.
No.
And so I find the response from the Players Association president baffling to me. So the Women's National Basketball Players Association executive director, Terry Jackson, who I never heard of before today, released a statement Tuesday night rebuking Engelbert's comments. And she said, here's the answer the commissioner should have provided to the very clear question regarding racism, misogyny, and harassment experienced by the players. There is absolutely no place in sport or in life for the vile hate, racist language, homophobic comments, and the misogynistic attacks our players are facing on social media. This is not about rivalries or iconic personalities fueling a business model. This kind of toxic fandom should never be tolerated or left unchecked. It demands immediate action and, frankly, should have been addressed long ago. Now, it was fine until that last sentence, Rob.
Yeah, I mean, addressed long ago.
How do you approach that? How do you leave it unchecked? What does she want her to do about people saying things on Twitter? I don't understand.
You can't stop. I mean, you can't stop people from what they say on Twitter or any other social media. They're going to say it, and And then what are you going to tell them? You can't do that? I mean, some companies, they do have a law, or they put in their policy where you can't really post on social media certain things. But this is people off the street just observing the game.
So if I was interviewing Miss Jackson, I would say, what immediate action would you want the commissioner to take?
Yeah, exactly.
And I would say, what action did you take? By the way, what action did Terry Jackson say or do when Caitlin Clark was hip checked into the ground on a non-basketball play? How come she didn't stand up for Caitlin Clark at that time, Rob?
Right. If she said, and her thing was long ago, why are you waiting for this now until the commissioner speaks, and now you're speaking about it? You should have taken care of it right there with certain incidents, especially against Caitlin Clark in the beginning of the year. Where were you? She's a player. She's a player rep. She represents the players.
Right. Where was your outrage when the fact that Caitlin Clark has had 17% of the flagrant fouls against her, all by black players, and almost all the hard fouls she has received have been from black players? Why didn't Terry Jackson get upset about that? The cold treatment that she has received from the league. She represents all the players, not just the black players, Rob.
Right. I mean but that's the whole problem we've been stating in most of all our videos, Mark. It seems that there's this, I can't explain it. There's this laissez-faire, thing with Clark when something happens with her. Yet they want to promote and want to say things about the poor black women in the league and how they're being misrepresentative. When you're supposed to represent everybody, not just a certain culture.
Right. Well, she went on to say, and then she basically said that she talked about the rising interest in the WNBA over the past few years, which is false. There's been very little rising interest in the past few years, particularly the surge in fandom sparked by the electrifying rookie class led by, you guessed it, Angel and Caitlin. Not only does she have to include Angel, she put her first, Rob.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, because A comes before C, Mark. So that's probably why she did that.
It had nothing to do with the fact that Angel's black and she's black, Rob. It has nothing to do with that.
Sure, it's not. I think it's with the alphabet. I mean, so that's why it's Mark and Rob's showdown. You're M and I'm R, so that's why.
Okay. How about if she said Caitlin and to a lesser extent Angel? How about if she said it properly, Rob?
Well, if she had,
or to a small extent Angel.
Well, she had to include Angel, because if she didn't, the outrage from the tribalism would be right after him, and she would have a meeting in the ladies' room if she had.
Oh yeah, she'd be fired, Rob, because she's probably voted in place by the players. I'm not sure how the executive director gets her job. I don't know who hires her. There was another confusing. Now, I want to emphasize that the question by Mr. Matheson was, when two of your most visible players are involved. This wasn't an accusation against Caitlin Clark fans. So I'm confused by Chelsea Gray's response, Rob, and it shows you the bias taking place in the league and the favoritism towards the black women. This is what Chelsea Gray said. I think it's doing a disservice to the majority of this league and not talking about the part that it's consumed and played by black women. I'm confused. The question had nothing to do with black or white women. It had to do with racism against both the black and the white player from the black and the white supporters of both players, Rob.
Yes, both. It's a both side thing. It's not a one-way street. It's both sides. That's not right.
Not according to Chelsea Gray. It's all about the black women. It doesn't matter that it happens to Caitlin Clark too.
Well, then to me, if she wants to go that route, I would say it's mostly more on the black women's side that Caitlin Clark is facing, rather than her fans, going after the black players. And which black players are the Clark fans going after? Angel Reese, Chelsea Gray, Wilson. What are they? Whom are they going after?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's obviously been more racism against Caitlin Clark than anyone else in the league, but that doesn't bother Chelsea Gray. It only bothers it when it affects the black women, even though they're have an advantage in this particular league. Not in society, but in this league, they have an advantage because they're the majority. Caitlin Clark's the minority.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I would have came out with that. That would have been a better response. I mean, it's racism both ways, but I would have said it seems like there's more racism towards Caitlin Clark, but she can't say that because she's in that tribal biased, group. So she can't really say something like that.
Oh, let me give you another example, Rob, where it's more towards Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark hasn't done anything to deserve the racism from the Angel Reese fans. While Angel Reese has done things to deserve some of the hatred. I mean, what she did initially in the LSU game a year and a half ago, that was classless. It wasn't the same thing Caitlin Clark did. That's where people started disliking her. Okay. So that was very unsportsmanlike, and it was way, way over the top compared to what Caitlin Clark did, who did nothing to Angel Reese, obviously. And since that time, Angel Reese has gotten a flagrant foul against her, should have gotten another flagrant foul against her, and has said things called Caitlin Clark's fans racist, when at the same time her fans are being racist to Caitlin Clark.
Right. Also,
she didn't care, but that didn't bother her. She didn't get that out in her podcast.
Yeah. Also, she should have been thrown out of the game when she's clapping for another player being knocked to the ground, possibly hurt. She's clapping for her teammate. Well done. Way to go. Right. And her foot was on the court. And so she should have been thrown out. And then also her coach not even saying anything about it. That's even worse. The coach doesn't say anything about this type of behavior.
Well, that's when the hatred really started to get riled up, Rob, is when she jumped up and down after Caitlin Clark got assaulted. I think that really turned off a lot of people. And she showed she was a pathetic person at that point.
She was classless. She's a classless person.
Right. So, but to get a little hate from Caitlin Clark fans after you did that, well, I don't know what to say, Rob.
But then she embellished it, Mark. She was like, "Yeah, cool. I'll play." She even said that I'll be the bad guy. Okay, so then if you're going to be the bad guy and you have these people say things about you, don't come crying on your podcast and people are like, "Oh, they're picking on me. Oh, when. Well, maybe if you apologize, says, "Well, that act was what I did was not very cool. She could have gotten hurt. I shouldn't have done that." Pretty easy to do.
Well, she's always got to play the victim, Rob. That's what she does. And she's got a fake personality. And so I don't know what to say. It seems very one-sided to me that they're only concerned about the racism against the black players and not against Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
And it's very ironic considering most of the racism has been against Caitlin Clark. I've never seen such a cold reception in the history of sports to a rookie who basically just wanted to play basketball, Rob.
Right, exactly. That's what annoys the hell out of me, Mark. This person's done nothing but just come into a league and want to play basketball. And yet she's gotten through all this abuse in there. And I mean, it's like you said, if you come to work, if you come to a new job and people start saying things about you, know nothing about you, you just go doing your job, work, management. Everybody just starts piling on you. Like, what did I do? This guy just came to work.
Right. Like Alicia Clark said, that's not the type of environment we want for our fans to come to. That's not the type of environment we want these young girls and boys to step into that is okay. Well, what about the type of environment that you caused for Caitlin Clark? Do you want little girls to have that type of environment, Rob? Maybe they want to be a WNBA player someday. Well, I certainly wouldn't want to come into this league if I was a white woman or a straight white woman who didn't go to UConn.
Right, exactly. I was like, what am I getting myself into as a parent? I mean, I'd be very afraid as a parent. I'd be like, why am I going to subject my daughter to this? No way. I'll send her over to Europe or someplace else, but I'm not going to subject her to this type of abuse.
It's so obvious to me, Rob. If Caitlin Clark was a black lesbian that went to UConn or South Carolina or Tennessee, the reception would have been drastically different.
Right.
Or if she just didn't receive so much attention and so much money from endorsements, the reception would be different.
Now we have Paige. Paige is going to be coming into the league. I don't think she's going to get the same treatment that Caitlin Clark.
Well,
not even close.
Not after that speech she gave at the ESPY Awards, Rob.
Right.
And she went to UConn. She's already in. So,
right.
So I don't think so. But that doesn't bother. None of that bothers any of them. They don't care the fact that she was kept off the Olympic team for reasons other than the fact of her abilities, Rob. That doesn't bother them whatsoever.
No.
So, anyways, it's all about, okay, everybody else but Caitlin Clark. That's all they're concerned about.
I guess so.
At some point, the league will wake up, but it doesn't seem to be happening very quickly right now, Rob.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear again from Terry Jackson until she speaks up against the misbehavior and the abuse Caitlin Clark has received this year, because she hasn't peeped a word all year, and I find that despicable.
Yeah. I wonder if Caitlin Clark at the end of the year is going to try and decide and go out. I mean, like I said, I would love to interview her and ask her questions. And I would, see and ask her, how did you feel about your season and how you were treated?
Caitlin Clark, you would like to ask her that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would like to interview Miss Jackson and ask her why she didn't speak up. That's what I want to know.
Okay.
Seems to me she represents all players, not just the 63 to 70% black players in the league.
Well, that's the thing. You represent every players, not just player who are black.
Some people were so outraged by Cathy Engelbret's response, they want her fired. Now, the players can't fire her; only the owners can. She works for the owners, so that's not going to happen. At least not for this response, but it may happen because she's doing a lousy job, which of course we pointed out in the past. But that's another story. Her response was good, other than leaving out the one sentence that she should have put in before she answered the rest of the question.
Right.
So it wasn't as bad as people made it out to be. But I mean, it was like, does she really have to say racism isn't acceptable? And it's not really. We're not encouraging the social media to have racist and sexist comments. Does she really have to say that? I mean, doesn't everybody pretty much accept that nobody approves of that?
Right.
I mean, yeah, you should say it, but even if she doesn't, does that mean she approves of it just because she didn't denounce it? Of course it doesn't mean that. She doesn't approve of it.
Right.
So, yeah, she should have said it, but it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
All right, let us know what you think. Let us know what you think about her answer to the question. Let us know what you think about the response by Terry Jackson, and let us know what you think in terms of how the fans reacted to that and the one-sidedness about they only care about the black players and not Caitlin Clark. That's the impression I get. I don't know. I'm a Caitlin Clark fan, but they don't seem to care about her. That's why she got treated so poorly, and there's been no outrage by anyone other than Caitlin Clark fans. They're the only people outraged. ESPN's not outraged. Cheryl Swoops and Cindy Brunson are not outraged. None of the black players in the league seem to be outraged. No. I have not heard one black player in the league say, you know what? I don't think we treated Caitlin Clark very well. In fact, not one player has said that, Rob. Right. The white players are afraid to say it.
Oh, yeah. They would, heaven forbid.
No. So they're all afraid to say it, Rob. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Hit the notification bell when you do. If you like Caitlin Clark, subscribe to our channel. If you feel she's got mistreated, subscribe to our channel. If you like Angel Reese or don't like Angel Reese, subscribe to our channel. If you like football, subscribe to our channel. Just subscribe. Anyways, and we're going to be live tonight, Rob. Guess what? We're not sure, but Asia Wilson is not on the injury report. So theoretically, she could be playing tonight against the Indiana Fever. That's at 7 o'clock on NBA TV. And then they go head-to-head again on Friday, 7:30 on ION. Maybe they'll set some more TV ratings records. We'll see. Our live show is Monday. We can talk about this then at 6/8 Eastern Time, except for major holidays. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you want to donate to this channel, you can on Super Chats or Super Thanks down below. Or link to PayPal. And we'll see you in the next video.
Peace out.